Standing in the quiet hall, the young disciple spoke with a hint of pride, recounting his progress. Senior sister taught me a lot of basic knowledge about arrays, he noted, his hands moving as if tracing the air. I can already feel the fluctuations of the divine runes. His master, an elder with long silver hair and a steady gaze, dismissed the technical talk with a sharp wave of his hand. That's not what I'm talking about, the old man countered. The disciple blinked, momentarily confused by the sudden shift in tone. Then what is it? The master leaned in, a mischievous yet calculating glint appearing in his eyes. What do you think of that girl, Yorong? Do you like her? Ah. The younger man's composure shattered instantly, his face a mask of pure shock. The master's expression grew serious, his eyes narrowing as he shared a truth the boy hadn't considered. Don't look so surprised. This master can tell you, that girl Yorong's background is not simple. As he spoke, a vivid image of the woman in question filled the air, Hona Yorong, a striking figure with flowing pink hair and an aura of hidden power. Behind her loomed the terrifying, glowing-eyed silhouette of a massive bear. Hona Yorong comes from the depths of the 10,000 demon forest and belongs to the King Bear clan, the master explained. Her father is a mighty expert at the transcending tribulation realm, possessing considerable influence among the entire demon race. The elder clapped a hand onto his disciple's shoulder, leaning in with a conspiratorial grin. If you can marry that girl, Yorong, and bring her home, you can definitely save yourself 1,000 years of struggle. The disciple rubbed the back of his neck, looking sheepish as he tried to redirect his master's matchmaking enthusiasm toward more spiritual pursuits. This disciple's primary task right now is still cultivation, he insisted, though his master's words clearly lingered in the air. I don't have much interest in romantic affairs. A subtle, knowing smile played across the young man's lips as he looked down, his eyes veiled in shadow. He felt a surge of quiet confidence. With the system acting as his ultimate cheat, he had no intention of settling for a single path when the entire forest lay before him. His internal musings were abruptly cut short by a booming voice that echoed through the chamber. Old man Zhou, hurry up and hand over my disciple, the newcomer barked. The young man felt a firm, familiar hand settle on his bare shoulder as old man Zhou turned toward the source of the commotion. Zhou's expression remained calm, almost weary, as he looked toward the entrance. That old fellow Fan Deng is here to pick you up, Zhou remarked, his voice dry. He's certainly punctual for this kind of thing. Before the transition could be completed, Zhou offered a final word of guidance. He gestured toward a set of glowing, ethereal texts floating in the air. Don't forget to review your array arts when you go over there, Zhou instructed. You must frequently read through these 3 books. The young man caught the shimmering volumes, the golden light reflecting off his skin. This disciple understands, he replied with a respectful nod. The two walked out of the traditional wooden pavilion. Descending the stone steps toward the courtyard. Waiting for them below was Fan Deng, a man who seemed to radiate raw, aggressive energy. His white hair was pulled back into a tight topknot, and his face was etched with a permanent scowl. Upon seeing the young man's composed demeanor, Fan Deng's frustration bubbled over. Kid, Zhao Fu, seeing your frowning face, you definitely aren't suited for learning array arts, right? He challenged, his aura flaring as he stood ready to take his new charge. Old man Fan gripped Zhao Mu's shoulder with boisterous familiarity, his eyes gleaming with the confidence of a seasoned alchemist. He leaned in, explaining that while alchemy required a high level of aptitude, the path was perhaps less daunting than that of an array master. With Zhao Mu's pure yang constitution, Fan promised that mastering fire control techniques would allow him to refine pills with twice the result for only half the effort. The elderly master nearby scoffed at the display. Old fellow, don't speak nonsense, he interjected, his voice carrying a note of profound respect for the young man's potential. He revealed that Zhao Mu had managed to observe over 1,000 divine runes the very first time he looked upon the divine rune disc, a talent he described as rarely seen even in 1,000 years. Fan Deng's jaw dropped in genuine shock. What? He barked, his bravado momentarily eclipsed by the weight of such an achievement. The other master continued, noting that in the 8,000-year history of the Saint Yuan demon sect, such a feat was completely unprecedented. Zhao Mu merely offered a faint, modest smile as the elders marveled at his natural brilliance. Shaking off the surprise, Fan Deng laughed heartily and conjured a massive, flying gourd. He insisted that such talent only proved Zhao Mu's attainments in alchemy might be even greater. Hurry and follow me back to Medicine King Valley, he commanded as they boarded the artifact. Zhao Mu could only manage a startled, yes, as they surged into the sky on a trail of golden mist. From the shadows of the forest below, a young woman with pink hair and a troubled expression watched their departure. Her face flushed a deep crimson as she clutched her chest, her gaze fixed on the disappearing gourd. "Junior brother Zhao," she whispered, her voice trailing off into the rustling leaves as he was whisked away. The golden streak of the flying gourd cut through the mist, descending rapidly into the heart of Medicine King Valley. The valley was a secluded sanctuary of jagged cliffs and traditional rooftops, where the air likely smelled of earth and ancient herbs. They touched down in a wide, stone-paved courtyard dominated by an imposing multi-story pavilion. Fan Deng wasted no time, his boisterous energy unflagging as he stood beside his new disciple. "Disciple, have you ever learned any fire attribute cultivation techniques?" he asked, arms crossed over his chest. Zhao Mu kept his gaze steady, offering a characteristic, measured response. "I've learned a little." Inside the alchemy hall, a massive, ornate bronze furnace stood as the centerpiece, radiating a faint, dormant heat. Fan Deng took his position, his expression turning serious as the trial began. He instructed Zhao Mu to use his flame power to heat the alchemy furnace while he continuously added medicinal herbs into the vessel. "All you have to do is control the intensity of the fire," Fan Deng warned. "You cannot let the herbs burn to ashes." "I will try my best," Zhao Mu replied calmly. He reached deep within, tapping into the core of his pure yang constitution. Within moments, the room was swallowed by a violent, crimson radiance. Roaring flames erupted from his palms, swirling around his silhouette with such intensity that they seemed to lick the ceiling. The sheer heat made the air shimmer and the bronze of the furnace groan. Watching the overwhelming display, even the seasoned Fan Deng was left in awe of the raw power before him. "What an overbearing pure yang fire," he muttered, the light of the inferno reflecting in his wide eyes. The heat in the alchemy hall intensified until the air itself seemed to crackle. Fan Deng watched, mesmerized, as the flames dancing around Zhao Mu's hands shifted in quality. It wasn't just a powerful fire anymore, it felt primordial. "No, this feels more like the true fire of the sun," Fan Deng whispered to himself, his earlier bravado replaced by genuine shock. The young man remained focused, his silhouette framed by a golden inferno that the master recognized as a top-grade flame for alchemy. The kid's aptitude was far beyond anything he had anticipated. At the heart of the furnace, the chaotic energy began to coalesce. A single, perfect sphere formed amidst the golden light, vibrating with power as the refining process reached its peak. With a sudden flash, the light subsided, and Fan Deng reached out to snatch the finished product from the air. He held up a shimmering, golden pill that pulsed with an inner radiance. A boisterous laugh erupted from the old man's chest as he turned to his student. "Ha ha ha ha, to be able to refine a top-grade pill on your first try, you truly are a one-in-a-million prodigy," he exclaimed, his face alight with pride. Zhao Mu offered a modest, composed smile. "Master, you flatter me," he replied softly. Fan Deng wasn't finished, his mind already racing to explain the phenomenon he had just witnessed. He stroked his chin thoughtfully while eyeing the boy. "If this master isn't guessing incorrectly, you should have awakened the Red Yang's sacred body, right?" he posited. He noted that only such a rare constitution could unleash the pure, true fire of the sun they had just seen. Zhao Mu met his gaze, his expression unreadable but his answer direct. "Yes," he confirmed. Zhao Mu maintained a humble facade as the golden flames flickered around his hand. "But this disciple only knows how to use the burning flame palm," he admitted with a small, sheepish smile. "My control over flames is actually not that profound." Fan Deng dismissed the concern with a wave of his hand and a jovial grin. He explained that Medicine King Valley excelled in more than just alchemy, their fire attribute techniques were among the best. He chuckled, before leading Zhao Mu toward a grand, multi-story structure. He invited the young man to follow him to pick out new techniques, encouraging him to practice whichever ones he liked. They entered the scripture pavilion, vast hall lined with countless shelves that stretched toward the high, ornate ceiling. Zhao Mu scanned the immense collection in awe, noting that with so many pills stored there, the place felt like the pill storehouse of the entire Saint Yuan demon sect. Fan Deng corrected him, noting that these were only a portion of the newly refined low-grade pills. Anything above the 5th grade was kept in the treasure pavilion of the core Holy Land. The master reached out, using his energy to pull several glowing manuals from the higher shelves. He presented the floating books to Zhao Mu, explaining that these were all Earth-rank techniques. He figured a talent like Zhao Mu wouldn't think much of the lower black or yellow rank techniques anyway. Zhao Mu reached out to accept the manuals, the golden light of the scriptures illuminating his face as he bowed slightly in gratitude. "Many thanks, master," he replied. Zhao Mu gazed at the floating manuals, his mind racing through the options. There was the Chen Fire Demon Art, Crimson Flame Tyrant Scripture, Blood Rainbow Earth Abyss Fire, Azure Sun Vegetation Art, and Endless Life Art. While the temptation to take them all was strong, he cautioned himself that biting off more than he could chew would be a mistake. He carefully evaluated the potential of each technique. He noted that the Crimson Flame Tyrant scripture was an overbearing and fierce fire attribute technique, making it an excellent choice for combat even if it wasn't ideal for alchemy. Similarly, the Endless Life art offered versatility. Besides enhancing the medicinal properties of herbs, it doubled as a method for recovering from injuries. Decision made, he informed Fan Deng that he would choose those two. Fan Deng gave a supportive pat to Zhao Mu's shoulder, noting that a fondness for combat and bravery was a good trait for a cultivator. However, his expression grew grim as he issued a stern warning regarding old fellow Zhou. He cautioned that if Zhou tried to trick him into entering the 10,000 beast forest for experience, Zhao Mu must not believe him. In Fan Deng's concern was palpable as he described Zhou as notoriously reckless, someone who wouldn't hesitate to throw a disciple alone into a den of demon beasts to fend for themselves. Zhao Mu offered a respectful bow, assuring his master that he would engrave these teachings in his heart. Fan Deng let out a small chuckle, his tension easing slightly. As long as you're careful, he added, I wouldn't want the good disciple I just accepted to carelessly die off. Their conversation was interrupted by a clear voice calling out, Master, from the doorway of the pavilion. A young woman named Tao Suai dressed in flowing blue and white robes, stepped into the light, announcing that the senior brother's quarters had been prepared and asking for further orders. Fan Deng introduced her to Zhao Mu, explaining that she would be the one to help him complete his initiation into the Tao of Alchemy. Zhao Mu accepted the arrangement with a respectful, yes, sir. As they walked together through the compound inn, Suai spoke with a tone of deep respect, noting that since Zhao Mu had been accepted as a personal disciple by the master, his seniority was higher than that of an inner disciple. She led him toward a grand residence, explaining that it was the specific residence for personal disciples, where all clothing, food, and daily necessities had already been prepared. I live nearby, she added, stopping to face him. If there's any need, senior brother only has to call out softly, and I can come over at any time. A playful glint entered Zhao Mu's eyes as he looked down at her. I can call you for absolutely any need, he echoed, a smirk playing on his lips. He leaned in closer, his hand reaching out to gently tilt her chin upward. Then is warming the bed okay, too? Suai's face immediately flushed a bright crimson, her breath hitching as she stood frozen under his bold gaze, unable to find her words.